one of the things that the Remain campaign was very keen to do was to try and say that women's rights would be absolutely chucked out of the window if people voted leave. Now that's absolute rubbish. So a group of us women got together and founded Women for Britain to put forward the alternative point of view. And honestly, it really wasn't very difficult. Because it's so obvious to see that women's rights were far stronger here in Britain than they were in the EU, and in fact that is still the case. So for example, we passed the first Equal Pay Act in Britain 3 years before we even joined the European Union. We passed the Divorce Reform Act, the Abortion Act. Contraceptive pill was free on the NHS before we joined the EU. Shortly afterwards there was a whole slew of fresh anti-discrimination legislation, and of course we had Margaret Thatcher became the first female PM without any help from the European Union. We highlighted how maternity rights were far stronger here. Things like the fact that female genital mutilation was banned in Britain in 1985. It took the EU 27 years to catch up. So it wasn't difficult to make the case that actually women were far, far better off in Britain, outside the European Union, and the EU was completely irrelevant to women's rights, actually. So we had great fun in Women for Britain. I wrote articles, I did media interviews, as did some of my colleagues. We went to a couple of events and we came up with the idea of having a sash with Women for Britain written on it. So a bit like the old suffragettes, you know, campaigning for the vote. They wore sashes, so we came up with the idea that we'd have a sash too. And I'm going to donate mine to the Brexit Museum.